Hello friends, it's Armstrong here from Mada Miniatures, and today we're gonna be working on one more of the minimal cost Mondays. So I'm changing the rules a little bit. So obviously the cost of the cars is coming into the cost of the build, but I gonna be, I did build like 8 or 10 of them already with literally scrap. So from now on, any kind of 3D printed part, like for example those canisters, gonna be costing me 5p towards the project. Anything from Games Workshop gonna cost me 10p towards the project. I think it is reasonable kind of pricing for what we are getting, yeah, because I'm not planning to use entire kits, I'm planning to use pieces of them. And again, 3D printed parts, I print them for like, I think with one part of this size should cost like 1p per print. I haven't actually printed anything in ages. It is just old stock that I want to use up. So what we're gonna be doing with this guy, we're gonna be doing a very simple conversion on him. We're gonna give him some weapon, and in that case it's gonna be this rocket cluster from Imperial Guard. Yeah, and we're gonna maybe use some of those barrels, and then I want him to be one of those Pockedots. So you remember, I don't know, I think it is in the Legends of Tomorrow or something. There is a hero which is shooting Pockedots, and I really don't know what he is about. I know that it's like he got injected by his mother with something when he was a kid. Like, I didn't watch the show, I only watched shorts from it, so that's the extent of my knowledge about the entire show. Yeah, but I was just like, kind of whimsical, let's go with it. Let's just give it a little bit of a scoff where we want to mount that rocket launcher. Yeah, so let's just give it some super glue, because obviously with all of those builds there is no real option for anything else than super glue, and I love how oversized it is for this car. Just mwah, yeah. And then we have those two barrels, and I'm just thinking, if I want to use them or not. Yeah, it's not a bad idea. It's not a good idea either, but especially next to the rockets, have a fuel next to rockets which when they launch spew fire. Just all makes sense. Yeah, perfectly wastelandish thing to do. And then I can keep as well the Imperial Eagle insignia on the top to show it as a Imperial build. Yeah. Now we're gonna start adding those Pockedots, and I'm not really planning on being very careful or deliberate with them. So it's just gonna be me putting super glue in the random places and then adding a pieces of, obviously it is cut into pieces accessories sprue from the build that I still haven't posted yet, because I just got that model a couple of days ago and I just assembled it. It is a weird scale. I think it is a, what do you call it? I think it is bolt action scale, actually 156. Yeah, so I'm not sure if it is a bolt action, but I was checking on YouTube, not on YouTube, on internet, what actual scale should the Imperial Guards be. It told me it is 156, so I got myself a T51, not T51, M51. It is Italian tank, yeah, and it's tiny comparing to, like, even Gaslands is like what 164, yeah. This is 156, and technically this, yeah, which I'm gonna show in the later video, is 156 as well. So this is a tank next to a Imperial Guard, well, not Imperial Guard, but it could be used as an Imperial Guard car. Yeah, so it is like a very small tank compared to this very big car. The thing is that if you compare the scale, yeah, the scale isn't actually outlandish. Yeah, because those tanks have like 3 crewmen. Yeah, one of them was laying in here driving, the other one was sitting in here shooting, and then there was as well the turret operator, and maybe someone loading the ammunition. But that would be probably the extent of the crew. And technically you can see them actually fitting in here. But that's just, me rambling about military stuff. Because I'm gonna be honest, when I was younger, oh, that was my jam, yeah? Talking about military stuff. I actually used to, my first hobby, before I started with Warhammer and wargaming in general, was actually proper military miniatures. And I probably talk about that in previous videos at some stage, but the very first thing that I built was with my dad. It was a wood and paper airplane from this store in our city. It was called Składnica Harcerska, which means Boy Scout warehouse. Yeah, and we tried to fly it, and behind our block where we were living, there was so much turbulences in the air that the poor thing crashed straight away. Yeah. And then I discovered that my father actually, in his youth, he used to fly tethered planes. So I was kind of, shocked with that. And now I'm trying to convince my dad to start building planes again or whatever, but he's like, oh, I'm too old, I have too shaky hands. I'm like, you can still drive, you don't have too shaky hands. I'm trying to get him back into the hobby, yeah, because I remember him being so happy building stuff. Yeah, and he's just refusing to cooperate, but I will get him into it. I'm gonna get him back into the hobby. Like, just, he's retired already. Well, he's still working, but he's retired. It is one of those things, the addiction of working. Once you are working and then you forget about your hobbies and your passions, the only thing that remains for you is working. Yeah? And that's the problem, because when you get too dedicated to working, your work become your life. And I don't want this for my dad. I want him to go back into his passion and be happy and everything. Okay, so we have a couple of Pockedots already, and I literally just throw out the entire history of my dad at you guys, so now you know. But we're gonna be adding the Pockedots. I think that I need to cut more of them. And if you notice, those circles are so uneven, it is crazy. But that's just me with chopping stuff. I always kind of mess it up. On the other hand, who cares? It's supposed to be random, and I'm pretty much applying them in a pattern, so yeah. I think that that's just a human nature. But yeah, I'm considering moving back to Poland and, getting myself a small workshop and getting my dad back into the hobby. I already looked at a couple of flats to rent. I found one in a decent price range. Now it's just, looking for a job back home. Because it would be so much nicer to move closer to my family. Alright, let's add some more Pockedots. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Nope, not you. So yeah, but again, this is just me, considering stuff. I haven't put anything in order just yet. Like, there is a lot of stuff that I love about Ireland. The only thing I don't love about Ireland really is the fact that my parents are so far away. And I think that finally, after 20 years, I got a little bit homesick. On the other hand, Poland is a good place to be, but there are things that I don't like about my own home country. Like one of the things, we do not really smile. A Polish smile is basically a neutral face. I just don't know if I would be feeling good about living back in that society. But that's just, my inner thoughts about the entire thing. Well, that they were my inner thoughts, now they are my outer thoughts. Okay, I think that that's enough of the Pockedot. I think it was a silly idea. Now I want to cover that front window, and I think that we're gonna use this hair roller thingy. Yeah, so how wide it would be? Like almost 3, I guess. So I just grab clippers and clip, 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 and clip, and clip again. And let's try. Would that be 3 or 2? Let's go with 2. It's just the thing is, this plastic really don't like super glue, so getting this on may be a problem. And now let's try to split it somehow. 2, 3. So my space in my camera ran out when I was putting this on, and I didn't notice, so I just literally just flatten it down and glue it to the front window. And that's pretty much it. But I was digging through my spare parts bin, and I found a couple of wheels that I think gonna work better for this entire build. So I have those ones, and then I have those ones for the front. They are roughly the same size, just a different kind of design for both wheels. Yeah, so what I'm thinking is just removing those ones and transplanting the other ones. And so since these are screw cars, you can, come on. The screw is slipping, like, oh my god. Wow. Is it disconnected or not? No. Wow, I think that I just stripped the screw and nothing else. Let's just try this again. It feels like it is turning. Nope. Okay, so we're gonna leave the wheels that are in the place. Yeah, that's just the luck. So let's just get into painting. My desk looked like a bomb exploded here, but it didn't. As you can see, I have this painted orange. Yeah, so this is my base coat. And I don't know if you can see that, but there is a transition from darker to lighter on the top. And how I achieve that is... come on. Using this little gibbon, yeah? I just got myself a new airbrush, because my old ones got destroyed by me because I was stupid. And I just bought a new one and it just arrived, so that's basically it. So now what we're gonna do, we're gonna finish paint job on this. So I want to paint the barrels green. I want to paint the polka dots in different colors. And then, we're gonna paint this metallic, and then do the weathering on the wheels. As well, you know, for the colors, I actually use the war paint from Army Painter. It is War Paint Fanatic, yeah. And this is like a set of 6 different colors. So it is Molten Lava, which is like a dark orange. Then you have a Burning Ore, which is a little bit lighter. Then you have Lava Orange, again a little bit lighter. Then you have Flickering Flame, a little bit lighter. Come on. Then you have a Glowing Inferno, a little bit lighter, and then almost yellow, yeah, Inner Light. So what I really like about those sets, I have already 3 of them. I have orange, brown, and grayish, whitish. So from light to dark. So this one is from that light to dark, yeah. So black and gray. What I like is the progression, yeah. You can build up on those colors without, you know, like for example, I chosen Molten Lava, then I went with Lava Orange, and then I would go with the Glowing Inferno for the highlights. Yeah, so you can just choose one of them or some of them to highlight your stuff. So for me, this is perfect. They are not all that cheap because the set costs on Amazon about 21 quid. Yeah, and you always get 6 of them in a set. Yeah, because I have in here, like I said, brown set as well, full set of the browns, and that's 21 quid for just 6 paints. So you know, I wish that the paints were a little bit cheaper, but with this economy, you know, 21 quid is not all that bad. Yeah, so now let's just go for a lazy painting. Let's grab some of the markers. And first of all, I have those little windows still showing in here, so let's hope for the best. And just give it a little bit of wiggle here and there. It's not gonna be perfect, and I'm not expecting this to be perfect. And I think that brushes in this case scenario might be more useful. Only for the windows, really, because yeah, like the rest, of course, weathering I probably have to do with something else, but those windows are a nightmare to get to with the markers. So I'm using base Contour Blue for this. This is, like I said, just because I cannot get in with the markers. Oh my goodness, this is such a good brush. I just don't want to cooperate. It just might be my skill level today. I was trying to sleep well last night, but I just have one of those situations where you couldn't fall to sleep, and then when I managed to fall asleep, I was dreaming but I cannot fall asleep. So yeah, one of the worst nights of this year so far. But you know, I survived. And then when I woke up, well, when I finished work, I was just like, I need a quick nap. And the quick nap turned into, yeah, a couple of hours nap, because that's what always happens to me. Yeah? So I'm just gonna paint a couple of them in red, then I'm gonna switch to another color, and I'm not gonna be bothering with, you know, covering the full surface. It's just, you know, just the top of them. It's like with the Pockedot man from the whatever is the show, yeah. He have them in random spots. They are not exact per se. And maybe something like that. So we have wiggled our way into it. Let's just put a couple of blue ones as well, since we already have the blue out. So blue, 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 maybe here, maybe 2 or 3 next to each other, like a little bit of a cluster. Like, they could be, for a purpose of the game, they could be like a reactive armor or something. Yeah, but it is just a silly idea. So don't take it too seriously. Now what do we have in here? Desolate brown. That color was never really good to apply, as you can see. It just kind of, you know, diarrhea brown. That's what it should be called instead of desolate brown. But I guess, you know, when you are spending all of your life on the toilet, desolate could be a good word for it. Oh. And now we need one more color. Mini, mini, mo? No. Mo. Okay, so we have familiar pink. All right. That was a random choice, yeah? It's not gonna show very well on the orange, but you know, random is random. Let's trust the thing to actually somehow work. So what I noticed, like, I actually watch somebody making reviews of the markers, yeah? And I would agree that those markers in here, they are great for like wet blending, because first of all, this is a speed paint, so it doesn't dry off very quickly. And secondly, you already have paint on the brushes, yeah? So you can just wet blend very, very quickly. Which, you know, like, I didn't make the connection at first, but then when I was watching the video, I was like, hell yeah, that's actually a good point. Now, let's give it a little bit of a wiggle on the engine. Like, the thing with the orange, you know, as a base, you can leave it showing in places. It's just gonna look like rust. Yeah, but I'm gonna come up with more elaborate painting schemes right now, since I have the airbrush, and I'm gonna be messing with it much more. Because I actually do enjoy painting with airbrush. I'm not very good at it. Yeah, but I enjoy it as a tool. It's a very good tool, and you know, even a mediocre painter like me, yeah, when they have good tools, they can mess about with them and come up with good things. So we have this somewhat painted. Now I'm gonna just give a little bit of a wiggle in here. Obviously it's gonna be covered in mud and dirt in a few seconds. Once I have the other paints out, and I'm just thinking, you know, if I want to do much of a color change in here on the big gun. This gun is from Imperial Guards Warhammer 40k. I built one as a cannon, one as a rocket launcher, so I have a couple of rocket launchers left, and I think that I used cannon on one of the previous builds for Gaslands. Or at least one of the cannons, because I think that they were like twin linked. Alright, so I have this, and now green. Let's close this paint because it's gonna dry off otherwise. What do we have in here? Our favorite, Absolution green. It's a very good dark green color. Yeah. On the orange, it's gonna look even darker than it's normally look like. So, yeah, that's for our fuel barrels. And you know, even though this car technically is very colorful, this is gonna give us so much more needed colors into it, because orange is a beautiful color, but can be a little bit overwhelming by itself. Alright, so I have one barrel. Now let's give a wiggle on the other side. And for those of you who are waiting for the Penal Legion videos, I moved them to Friday because I need a little bit more organized timeline for my videos. It was a little bit of a chaos: Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, then Sunday. So I basically have 4 videos together and then nothing in between. So I decided to just wiggle everything, into different positions in timeline, which hopefully gonna help a little bit with my messy schedule. Okay, now let's get with the weathering. So, is that even... Like, I have odd colors in here. Like, I have tentacle pink, tanned flesh. Why do I have them out? Like, I haven't used them for anything lately. Yeah, I wasn't painting like, horrors or anything like that. Okay, I'm just confused with my colors. Alright, I found 2 of them. Where is the third one? So I have this and I have this. So that's my 2 of 3 browns. Well, we're gonna have to make it do with the 2 of them, I guess. I don't know where I put the third one. But that's nothing new. My desk is always a mess. Yeah. So let's do this. And let's do... this is just... this. Okay. And now we can do a little bit of weathering. I'm just tired of small brushes for this. Let's go with a big one. So, the wheels. The bottom of the car. Because obviously it wouldn't be clean. The wheel wells would be muddy. Yeah, and obviously the mud is something that is collecting everywhere. Especially on my fingers. Because I haven't think about this when I started applying the paint in a tremendous amount. And now this one is our kind of streaky color. I need to really work it into the... come on! Into the wheels. And yeah, it's literally just turned into a poop and mud color. Yeah. Okay. Oh, I'm gonna be honest, it is already after midnight on Monday, so this video should be already live. But like I said, I took a nap. So let's skip the spin table. And yeah, this is how it turned out. I'm gonna be honest, I kind of hated this model from the beginning, yeah? The paint job did really help, but generally, I wouldn't say that I'm surprised that it didn't turn out very well. But it is usable. It is usable, that's the best praise I can give it. Yeah, so if you think otherwise, tell me. Yeah, maybe I missed something about it. Maybe I'm absolutely right. Yeah, but you know what to do. If you like this video, rate, comment, subscribe, share with your friends, family, and whoever else wants to watch it. And everyone have a great day. And take care. Bye bye.